Welcome back to another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. In this video, we'll show you how to remove and replace the thermal cutoff and high limit thermostat on this Whirlpool electric dryer. Stop. Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for proper voltage. You will need the following tools to complete this repair. To begin this repair, we will remove the top panel. The panel is held in place by two metal tabs. Use a painter's tool to depress the tabs and release the panel. Next, open up the door, lift up the top, and lean it back against a wall. With the top lifted up, we can remove the front panel. To begin, disconnect the door switch Molex, located on the front right. Use your painter's tool or a flat blade screwdriver to pry apart gently, then pull it apart. Next, there are two 5/16 inch screws that must be removed, one on either side. Support the cabinet when removing the second screw so the panel does not fall forward. With the screws removed, lift up and out to remove the panel and set it aside. To remove the bulkhead, disconnect the moisture sensor wiring connectors by pulling straight off. Next, remove the 4 1/4-inch screws around the perimeter. Loosen the 2 1/4-inch screws on either side of the top. Finally, lift the bulkhead up and off the loosened screws, gently lower the drum into the machine, and set the bulkhead aside. With the front bulkhead removed, we now have access to the belt. We've removed the rear panel so you can see, but this step is done by reaching in through the front. Reach under the drum and grasp the idler pulley. Pull it up and to the right to relieve the tension on the belt. Slide the belt off the idler and the motor pulley. From the top, lift the belt up and slide it out and off the drum. Now, grasp the drum and lift it out of the dryer. With the drum removed, we have access to the high limit thermostat and thermal cutoff. To remove the thermostat, pull off the red and black wire connectors. These can be replaced in any configuration, as they just complete a circuit. Next, remove the pin header connector by pressing the tab on the thermostat towards the rear of the appliance and pulling out. Finally, remove the 2 1/4-inch screws holding the thermostat onto the heater casing. And set it aside. To avoid any confusion of the wiring connections, it's recommended to remove and install one component at a time. To install the high limit thermostat, make sure the pin header connection is facing towards the rear of the appliance and set it in place. Install the 2/4 inch screws to mount it to the heater casing. Once the screws are secured, reconnect the 2 wiring connectors. As well as the pin header connector, with the wires facing the front of the machine. Now we can move on to the thermal cutoff. To remove the thermal cutoff, disconnect the 2 wiring connections by pulling straight off. Next, remove the 2/4 inch screws holding it to the heater casing. It's likely you will need a stubby driver or ratchet to clear the blower housing and remove the bottom screw. Once the screws are removed, pull the cutoff out and set it aside. To install the thermal cutoff, line up the top screw hole and install the 1/4 inch screw. Followed by the bottom screw, using your stubby or ratchet if necessary. Finally, reconnect the 2 wiring connectors. Now we can reinstall the drum. When installing the drum, take note that the lip of the drum must rest on the rear drum rollers. Slide the drum in and rest it on the rollers. Spin the drum a few times to make sure it's properly seated and none of the felt is squeezed or warped. Drape the belt over the drum and slide it into the same position it was in previously. Reach under the drum and lift up the idler pulley. Loop the belt under it, then put the loop around the motor pulley. Now we can reinstall the front bulkhead. To install the bulkhead, line up the blower housing and swing the top into place while lifting up on the drum. Rest the drum on the rollers and turn the drum to ensure it is properly seated. Now, hang the top of the bulkhead back onto the loosened screws and tighten the screws down. Then install the 4 screws located around the bottom perimeter. Finally, reconnect the wiring to the moisture sensor. Now, we can reinstall the front panel. To install the front panel, bring it into place and set the bottom into the tabs on the dryer. Swing the top of the panel into place and start one of the 5/16 inch screws. Next, install the other screw. Finally, reattach the door switch molax. Now we can reinstall the top. Before laying the top back down, make sure neither of the clips has fallen out. If they have, simply squeeze to compress the tab and reinsert it into the slot. Next, with the door open, bring the top down into place and apply pressure to lock it into the clips. Close the door, and this will complete your repair. Thanks for watching. If you found this information helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel.